All right, everybody, let's get right to it. We are live due to a severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued out for Jackson County. So give me just a minute. We're getting everything set up here. Bear with me just a moment. All right, so we are live due to a severe thunderstorm warning in Jackson County. Let me get some of this stuff turned off in the background here so we don't have a problem with it like yesterday. Currently, as mentioned earlier, we're tracking some severe thunderstorms currently around Fayetteville, Tennessee. All this moving on off to the kind of the east-southeast. Weather Service went ahead and put Jackson County under a severe thunderstorm warning with that. And we did get some reports of some wind damage with this too. I haven't read it over yet, so let's go ahead and read it. National Weather Service in Huntsville has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for north central Jackson County. That's in our listening area. So we'll just skip the rest of this in Tennessee until 11:45 a.m. 11:16 a.m. a severe thunderstorm was located near Lynchburg, moving southeast at 35 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. Emergency management reported power outages in Marshall County, Tennessee, due to this as it's moving through. Locations impacted include Winchester, Lynchburg, Deckherd, Estill Springs, Kewan, Huntland, Sewanee, Timms Ford Lake, High Top, and Lexi Crossroads. So again, emergency management reporting power outages as this storm's moving through. So some damaging winds with that. Let's take a look on velocity, and definitely can see those damaging winds for sure right there. 60 miles per hour or higher, easy right here on this scan. 67 miles per hour according to Doppler radar. So we've got some 67 mile per hour possible wind gusts with this storm as it's moving on off to the southeast. So some very high winds showing up on Doppler radar in that storm. Not something you see very often. So that's coming on off to the southeast through Tennessee. Looks like Fayetteville, Tennessee. It is weakened just a little bit on that latest scan there, but still some 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gust in that storm. So definitely some power outages going to be possible with that. Let me close this radar and open another one, because for some reason these two don't get along. So let me switch these out. Give me just a second. So we're going to switch over to a secondary radar, and I'm going to close the first one because they don't get along for some reason. These two radars hate each other. Let's see if I can do a little bit of a track on it, which actually with my other radar I could probably track it a little better. Let's see what we got. That's going to be a watch notification.
National Weather Service has issued severe thunderstorm watch number 261, effective until 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This watch includes the following counties in Alabama: Blount, Coleman, DeKalb, Jackson, Madison, Marshall, and Morgan. Remember.
All right, so severe thunderstorm watch has been issued and does include DeKalb County, Marshall, and Jackson counties. Let me run this back through again.
While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information. Repeating, severe thunderstorm watch number 261 has been issued until 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time for the following counties in Alabama.
Station 58, all stations, be advised, National Weather Service Huntsville has issued a severe thunderstorm watch. That watch is in effect until 7 o'clock tonight for all of North Alabama. That does include DeKalb, Jackson, and Marshall counties. Station 58 will be clear, standing by for any traffic. Also, be advised, there is a storm that was actually had produced some wind damage over in Tennessee. That's moving on off to the southeast, kind of toward the High Top area. Doppler radar indicated some 67 mile per hour wind gusts with that earlier, so be monitoring that. We will be monitoring the K4SCO repeater in section and also monitoring on here. Station 58 to be standing by. All right, so watch went ahead and went in effect for all of North Alabama. I'm not surprised. So we'll read that out again. Severe thunderstorm watch issued out till 7 o'clock for, let me read this out again. This is not quite what I'm wanting to watch, wanting to look at here. Severe thunderstorm watch number 261 in effect until 7 o'clock for all of North Alabama. That's good enough. So all of North Alabama under a severe thunderstorm watch currently due to these storms moving in. Let's go ahead and get started back up here with this one and take a look at the velocity. Still seeing some potential for damaging winds. And I actually need to get some information out. This is KO4 FUN monitoring. Alrighty. So still see some embedded damaging wind in there, not like what it was on this scan up here. As you can obviously tell, it's weakened a little bit, but still some embedded damaging wind possible in there in that storm. Let me switch it back. All right, so which way is this thing moving? It's moving southeast. Come on. It's moving southeast at 35 miles per hour. All right, so we're going to track this thing way off to the southeast. Let me redo that track because for some reason it didn't do right. It's probably a little bit of a error on my part, truthfully. All right, so it looks like at this 35 miles per hour, looks like it'll be in high top within probably less than the next hour. So keeping an eye on that. It's still in Tennessee, as you can see, a good ways away. Again, this is radar estimated arrival time. It could be a little bit off, but it's wanting to say around 25 minutes for the Huntland area. That's up in Tennessee, but got to keep on tracking it off to the southeast as it goes on into Jackson County, which is not there yet. It is weakening a bit, so that is some good news. We'll continue to track it, though, as it does progress on off to the southeast. So we'll be right here tracking it. And we also have some severe thunderstorms off to the west. That includes parts of northwest Alabama around, looks like, let me get that information up here. Looks like some quarter-size hail. These are going to be some big hail makers, I can tell you that. It says expired, but yet it's still showing up. I don't really get the logic of that. $11:27 is when it was issued out. Till 12:30. Well, it's definitely not expired. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, 11:27 a.m. severe thunderstorm was located over Midway or near Iuka, moving southeast at 30 miles per hour. 60 mile per hour wind gusts and some quarter-size hail possible. Locations impacted. That includes Cherokee, Malone, Posey Loop, Pogo, Mount Hester, Cedar Creek Reservoir, Srigley Church, New Bethel, Aliceboro, and Maud. Over there, that's going to be in northwestern Alabama. So we're going to watch that storm as well, and we're going to keep that storm over here near Cherokee. It's got a really nice hail core on it. That hail core is going to be right in between Iuka and Tishomingo, Mississippi. That's moving on off to the southeast. And let me check my text here. Give me just a second. Okay, that is correct. Alright, this station 58 will be standing by for any traffic, and also monitoring the Fort Payne and the section repeater. So this little storm here is south of Burnsville, Mississippi, moving on to the south-southeast. Looks like it will get very close to Cherokee. So if you're in Cherokee there over in the western parts of, northwest parts of Alabama, that is just to the west of Florence currently. And that's moving south-southeast, so it is going away from Florence at this point. It would eventually make its way further southeast down toward Russellville eventually in Alabama. And Cherokee. So Cherokee and Russellville areas, I'll keep an eye on that. Let's go back to Jackson County and look at this storm here and remove this track. I really need to change that color. That's a little bit, looks like a tornado warning instead of a severe thunderstorm warning, so we need to fix that. There we go. Now that's not as bad. I'm starting to see it pick back up again on this latest scan here, so it's definitely going to be throwing some damaging winds out. So let's go ahead and talk about areas that's going to be impacted by this as it moves in. So Huntland in Tennessee, y'all are going to be affected by this. Moving south-southeast, so it looks like around High Top areas will be impacted by this. Francisco areas possibly impacted by this as well. Now, the reason you're seeing this warning put out the way it is, I know it's a little bit confusing. You see the warning going all the way down to Elora, but it's just right outside of Francisco. That's a little bit of uncertainty with where the damaging winds are, but according to radar, as you can see, here's the damaging winds, and it's following more along this secondary path here. So it looks like the damaging wind threat may stay north of Francisco, and it may go a little bit more toward High Top. So that's the whole point that that box is issued out like that. So just FYI there. We'll continue to watch that. Alright, so give me just a second. I have to grab this information and put it up. Station 58, all stations, we're going to go ahead and be active as of 11:35 a.m. Due to that severe thunderstorm warning and also the severe thunderstorm watch. Alright, give me just a minute. I'm just now looking at the chat, so y'all bear with me. I haven't been ignoring you. Just have not been looking at the chat. And it looks like the chat just disappeared. Here we go. It's coming back up. Let's see. Alright, I'll try to answer everybody. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch. Alright, so let's get an idea of, you know, so here's our line moving on off from the northwest to the southeast. So let me go take a look at the high-res models really quick. And give me just a second. We might actually have another sponsor, so that would be great if we do. We lost 2 sponsors in one day. So things have been kind of crazy. So I've got 1,000 things going on in the background here. Bear with me. Alright, I need to go ahead and include Madison County in that warning too, because they just had one go out from Madison County. Wow, 70 mile-an-hour winds possible. That's the watch talking about that. And hail, 1.5 inch. That's larger than a quarter. That's some big hail. Possibility. Now that's the watch. It's mentioning the possibility of hail larger than a quarter at 70 mile-an-hour winds. But this storm here is capable of producing hail close to 1 inch in diameter with 60 mile-an-hour winds. So just don't get it confused. Just me kind of going off to the side there for a minute. Severe thunderstorm warning for northwest Madison County, north central Alabama, northeastern Limestone County, and north central Alabama, and southwestern Lincoln County and middle Tennessee. That's until 12:30. At 11:35 a.m., severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from 12 miles east of Pulaski to 8 miles northwest of Ardmore. Movement was southeast at 30 miles per hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and nickel-size hail possible with that. Locations impacted will be northern Huntsville, Fayetteville, Moores Mill, Meridianville, Hazel Green, Ardmore, Harvest, New Market, Lincoln, and Elkwood. Yes, these storms will be moving to the southeast. They will impact all of northeast Alabama at some point today. I haven't had time to look at the high-res models and get exactly an idea of when that'll be, because I've had a lot going on this morning, trying to get the graphics up and also dealing with losing 2 sponsors in one day. So bear with me. I'm going to check those out. And I'll get you an estimated time of when it looks like it'll be here in northeast Alabama. And we can actually switch over. I believe I could switch over to it. Give me just a second to see. A little bit slow right now. Sugar's a little messed up, so y'all just kind of bear with me here. Okay, I'll get my life together one of these days. Sorry about that. Okay. Alright, so let's run through the high res really quick. Let's take a look at that and run through the loop. We'll get an idea when it's going to be in our area. So looks like the heaviest storm activity, that main line, which we have some additional pop-ups. I noticed that. We do have additional pop-ups, of course, between now forward, 10 a.m. to 11, 12 o'clock, so we could have some additional pop-ups out there. Not seeing that yet, but the high-res models is wanting to think this line gets into, let's say, Jackson County by around 1 o'clock. It's thinking around 1 o'clock for Jackson County. This is estimated. Again, this could be a little bit off, but around 1 o'clock for Jackson County. And getting into Marshall County, and then moving through DeKalb County anywhere between 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock time frame. And let me run this on through, see if there's any more. We do have a few more additional storms developed behind that, but other than that, it looks, let's take a look at that potential for severe weather. That'll give us an idea exactly when it moves out. Let's see, take a look at our CAPE. I believe our CAPE values are probably pretty high right now, considering we're at 80 degrees. We got 90% humidity out. I believe that CAPE values is going to be on up there, so it's probably going to be pretty high right now. Let me move it forward. So we do have a good bulk of energy moves in place. Looks like around 1 o'clock. So yeah, it looks like the main impactful weather will be around 1 or 2 o'clock. Then those storms move on through, and they pretty much kill that energy out. So around 1 or 2 o'clock looks like is when we get it here. We do have CAPE values on up 2,000 joules. That's pretty decent for some severe weather. 2,414 joules. That's on up there. 3,000 around the along I-65. So that's some decent energy, and especially over in Mississippi, that's some crazy energy there. 5,000 marks, you've got some problems with it that high. So higher threat, slightly over to the northwest Alabama, better threat there, but there is still a threat in northeast Alabama as well. So I see the whole reason for the watch to be issued out. But long story short, looks like it does move out around 1 or 2 o'clock, but timing may be a little bit off. So we'll have to just kind of keep a check on that. But right now, you wouldn't think there's anything going on. It's sunny with some clouds. It's 81. Speaking of which, I'm going to try to get our cameras up if I can keep it from crashing. All right, give me just a second. We should be able to get our sky cam up. Some clouds out there. That's looking northwest toward Jackson County. So got those low cumulus clouds out there. Some peaks of sunshine, 81 degrees right here at the station. So there's definitely some instability out there for sure to work with today. Let's look at Albertville. Pretty much same thing. Some sun and clouds out there. So that's only going to fuel things. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on things today for sure. And let me fix this text. That is going to include Madison County. Good morning, Mr. Mike. How are you doing? And I'm thinking around 1 or 2 o'clock for probably the Rainsville area. All right, sorry everybody. Had to having to grab me a peanut butter sandwich because I'm having a sugar attack. But just say a prayer for me. We'll get all through this. So the good news is this severe. Give me just a second.
Thunderstorm warning for north central Jackson County in northeastern Alabama, southeastern Moore County in middle Tennessee, southeastern Lincoln County.
All right, so as I was saying, north central Jackson County, just making sure something new hadn't happened, hadn't popped up. National Weather Service issued a severe thunderstorm warning for north central Jackson County, northeastern Alabama. We'll skip Tennessee because that's out of our listening area till 12:45 p.m. At 11:44 a.m., severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Thames Ford Lake to 8 miles southeast of Lynchburg to near Huntland, moving east at 30 miles per hour, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and nickel-size hail. Radar indicated areas impacted: Winchester, Lynchburg, Deckard, Estill Springs, Kawan, Huntland, Thames Ford Lake, Sewanee, Anderson, and Jericho. So that's going to be with this storm right here. And it's actually trending a bit further east than it was on the last scan. So looking like this storm not moving as far south as it was. Looks like it will move through the high top area. That's mainly the areas, but Francisco, you have been added into that. So if you're in Jackson County, Francisco area, you have been added into that severe thunderstorm warning now. So they went ahead and added you in there for some 60-mile-an-hour winds and some hail. So just a little FYI on that. Let's look at the high resolution velocity. Do see some embedded areas where there might be some damaging winds, strong to damaging winds in there. The whole line is not producing damaging winds, but there is some embedded damaging winds in there. And that's mainly north of Shady Grove, north of Huntland, Tennessee. At this point, kind of near Lexi Crossroads in Tennessee is where that's actually heading. Pretty nasty little storm there, moving on off to the east southeast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah, everybody, give me just a minute. I'll be right back. 1 minute. Alrighty, sorry about that. this is KO4 FUN monitoring. Alright, so there's two areas that I'm watching that could move into Jackson County, which likely will. That's this first storm up top, which is right here. Second storm is right here, but I'm thinking the most severe potential with this one might stay over Madison County. That one's going kind of toward the Ardmore area, Harvest, those areas. So that's kind of the way that one's heading. This first one is wanting to stay more in Tennessee, but it will scoot its way on south. Good grief, get rid of that. But this is what all we're looking at. Once we get these big bulks of storms out of here, there may be a couple more develop behind it. But other than that, the severe threat should get on out of here by around 2 o'clock. That's according to the high res. They'll probably update again very shortly. And yeah, sorry, I seen your comment there, Lily, about Dawson. I was making sure I answered you back. I thought I did, but I wasn't quite sure. But yeah, it will be moving our way. This whole batch will. But I do have some good news. A generous member of our group donated enough to keep us going this month, so we're very fortunate and blessed because of that. And we're looking for more sponsors. I believe we have another one, and if we do, that's great. You know, if we could get one more, that would help. So if you've got a local business that would like some advertisement done, keep us in mind and be like, hey, you know, DeKalb County Severe Weather Team's looking for somebody like you that, you know, they will advertise for your business and have them get with me monthly, as we're going to have to keep our sponsors going. I know it's got hard on everybody. People are having to choose between food and, you know, people shouldn't have to ever choose between their power or their food or something like that. But unfortunately, that's the society we live in now, that we're having to make choices that's pretty difficult. I understand. So I get you for sure. And that's why we're going to try to be here as long as we can be for everybody. The average cost to keep this page going, to be honest, is probably going to be a lot more than you think. Most people don't think it's that much, but I ran it by some of our guys this morning because wrote down everything that I use to keep this page going. And with Facebook verification being one of the biggest things that they require now due to AI taking it over, weather pages are considered useless in Facebook's eyes, and you can look that up. When it comes to content, they will put our pages at the very bottom of the list unless they're verified. So the verification alone is $56 a month. That's just one thing. That's just the verification. Total, you're looking at probably, I'm going to estimate about $160 altogether to run the page a month. So it's not as bad as some, but it's pretty bad when you're limited. After you pay your bills, you don't got a dime left. So I get it. It's very limited to keep it going, but I was blessed this month to have a generous member of our group help us keep it going. We lost two sponsors just simultaneously, side by side. So it really knocked us down. And if we lose our last sponsor, then we're going to be in real big trouble. But yeah, it takes a lot of money to run this operation. This app right here is $10 a month. It's not that bad. It's actually worth it, in my opinion. But when you've got several radar apps that you use and several different systems to operate the stream, it's almost $30 a month just to have the streaming service that allows me to do Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So I am not only streaming on Facebook, but YouTube. That's $30 just for the streaming service, not counting the radar services, not counting the cameras, not counting all the other stuff that's put in there. So there's a lot that goes into this stuff. So I want to mention Ardmore. If you're in Ardmore, you're getting ready to get some very high winds and some hail here in just a few minutes. This is moving on into, looks like, let me zoom that out again and make sure I'm telling you right. It looks like it's about to enter Madison County. That's right. Looks like the Elkwood area. You'll be getting in on this shortly in Madison County. The Bobo area looks like, I think that says Wheelholt Road. I can't really tell. It's kind of hard to read it. Elkwood Section Road, Bobo areas. Y'all be getting in on this very shortly in Madison County as that's moving on in. Looks like pretty nasty little storm there. Now this one in Tennessee, I know there's been a warning out for just a little while for Jackson County, and I'm noticing something that's got my concern here. A little bit of broad rotation with this storm right here near Mount Carmel. There is a little bit of broad rotation with that. I'm noticing that in the reflectivity. So near Mount Carmel, there's a little bit of broad rotation. This Station 58 advising there's broad rotation in this storm around the Mount Carmel area in Tennessee. While I don't immediately think a tornado, of course there could possibly be one. I see a nice little inflow notch, and there is some rotation there near Mount Carmel. That's in Tennessee, so a very nice little storm there showing up around the Mount Carmel, Tennessee. That's north of Francisco and Jackson County. We'll watch that as it continues to the southeast as it moves into Jackson County. Station 58, be standing by. So do note some rotation showing up in this storm near Huntland. It does have a nice inflow notch. And that thing's really bowing out, headed right toward Francisco. So that's going to produce some destructive winds, I can tell by looking at it. And there is some destructive winds and there is rotation. So if you're in Francisco and Jackson County, be aware. If you've got a safer structure that you can get into, if you're in a mobile home, I'm going to go ahead and say, for your safety, go ahead and get out of that if you're in the Francisco area, because this storm's coming really close to you and it is wanting to dive further south now. And the reason I say that's due to that little area rotation. It may not do anything, probably won't, maybe it won't. But moving south, it looks like it's going right at Francisco. So if you got a sturdier structure you can get into, go ahead, you need to do that, and due to these damaging winds as well. Looks like the rotation did go away, but there is some destructive winds in that storm as it's progressing to the south. It's moving a little bit further south than it was. So yeah, the rotation gone on that scan there, that's good. But those winds are going to be very high. So if you've got a sturdier structure you can get into, it might be a good idea to do that. Due to those winds are going to be very high, maybe 60 miles per hour. So if you're in a sturdy structure, you might want to get away from windows, all that good stuff, because you're going to have some good 60-mile-an-hour winds possibly pushing through with this as it moves on to kind of the south-southeast. So just a little heads up there. This is a mean-looking little storm. And definitely showing some signs of some higher winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour. But also, see if we got any more communities here that's showing up. The Wilson Top area, I'm not sure if anybody lives up there or not. I'm sure they probably do. They live near it if you're around the Wilson Top area. Going to have some damaging winds coming that way too. But this is just for your safety, though. Like I said, this storm is looking like it's wanting to push those winds a bit further south. So there could be some damaging winds with it. So I say could be. If you're near Francisco, I see the winds trying to dive that far south, so that's why I'm concerned a little bit. Okay. Yeah, the rest of that is a good point. So, yeah, I'll just go ahead and say 150 a month would run our page. That would pay for all the apps. It would pay for the verification and everything. So, and you know, we'd be able to keep going. That's what it costs every month. By having 3 sponsors, that's exactly how much it costs. So, and let me get on with it. Is this going to hit Bridgeport? If you're over there in Bridgeport and Jackson County, you need to be keeping your eye on this. This storm's west of you, but it is moving in your direction currently. So it may dive a bit further south, and I'm thinking it will by looking at the way these winds are trying to go south now. I'm thinking this one's going to go more toward High Top and maybe, I'm going to say maybe either High Top or Skyline, depending on how far south it dives in this next scan. But it could go towards Stevenson, High Top or Stevenson too. So there's 2 scenarios. It could go further south and go toward High Top and Skyline, or it could stay kind of southeast and move kind of toward High Top Stevenson. We'll watch it in this next scan to see what it does. But each one of these storms are some very powerful wind makers. They've got some big time winds with them. And I already had some reports of some wind damage over in Tennessee due to this particular storm right here. So it's moving into Jackson. Y'all bear with me just a second. I'm going to close this radar and open it back because it don't seem like it's refreshing. And that's because it wasn't refreshing. So sometimes you do have to refresh this radar. So storm went right over Francisco. Y'all have already got some damaging winds with this possibly. Some hail, very heavy rain. It does look like it's going kind of to the south a little bit more. So I'm going to say this one's going toward High Top. So next in line will be the High Top area. Station 58, all stations, be advised, storm is now moving over the Francisco area in Jackson County. Possibility of some damaging 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with that, and also some embedded hail. The broad rotation that it had in Tennessee is already weakened on out, but it is showing signs of wind damage, possibly some damaging winds as it moves on through. Looks like it's moving toward High Top currently. So yeah, I'm going to say this storm here, it has broadened out a bit, I've noticed, but the highest of the winds are currently on top of Francisco right now. This is moving off toward High Top, so keep that in mind. If you're in High Top, it is coming your way. So I'm going to try to do a track, and this thing, again, it could do a little bit of some different scenarios of what I'm drawing here, but this is just my opinion right now. So it looks like it'll be in High Top the next I'm going to say 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes high top, because this is radar estimated timing. If it continues in the trend, the direction it's going. But again, this thing could change, and I for some reason feel like it might do that. And it might take a little bit more. Let me redo that. That was my bad. That was a mistake on my part. It could go a little bit further south, and I'm kind of thinking this is going to be more or less the scenario that it takes. Will be a little bit further south, and it may even go a little bit more south than what the track I've got. But we're watching Skyline, so if you're in Skyline, be weather aware, be paying attention. If you're in Stevenson, be paying attention. If you're in High Top, be paying attention, especially High Top, as you guys are very close to it. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to try to open my secondary radar and hope that it don't crash the stream. So I do see some damaging wind potential with this storm as it moved over Francisco. There's at least 50 to 60 in there as it moved over Francisco. I'm looking at that through the secondary radar here. Okay, let me close this one out as I don't want it to mess everything up. Yes, that is the correct Cash App. Geraldine and Dawson, it's not nowhere near us yet. So I got some encouraging news. Due to that latest radar scan there, that thing's weakened a lot. I do see some embedded hail with it, but that latest scan there has weakened a lot. But I do still see the threat of some damaging winds now. Still see that. It's going to be near County Road 175 and County Road 148 in Jackson County. At Station 58, I do see some potentially damaging winds going to be moving toward County Road 140. Looks like County Road 140 and 175 in Jackson County. That'll be east of Francisco. A good bit east of Francisco, south of Coptown, Tennessee. Could be some embedded damaging winds with that storm as it's progressing on off kind of to the east-southeast. So if you're in Jericho in Jackson County, I've just now seen that pop up. If you're in Jericho, be weather aware because you are under a severe thunderstorm warning and you may get some of these damaging winds as it moves on through. So that's the Jericho area in Jackson County. But it doesn't look as strong as it did on the radar scan. There's still some pretty high winds in there. So we will see if Huntsville cancels that out or if they leave it. I'm going to go ahead and remove my track. And it is diving more south. And I wanted to check further west. They went ahead and canceled that warning that was in effect over around Cherokee. They replaced that with a special weather statement and goes on into the Russellville area. So here's our main line, and it's coming in pretty quick. I'm going to say that that is pretty accurate when it comes to the timeline. So I'm going to say 1 or 2 o'clock. We'll have this line moving on through our area. But I noticed it weakened a bit. So we'll keep an eye on that though, because we've still got a good bit of energy. We've got a good bit of energy in place here around Marshall County and DeKalb County, Jackson. There is some energy here, so keep that in mind. But I am curious about something. There is something I didn't look at. So tornado-wise, perimeters are very, very low. It does show a low tornado threat in Jackson County. I mean, very low. A very low threat in DeKalb County. A very low threat in Marshall County. So overall, very, very low threat of anything tornadic, but it's not zero. I can tell you that. So we will have to watch some of these for some brief spin-ups like what we just saw try to happen in Tennessee, which it didn't last long, but that's all it takes is a little bit, spin up like that. Now, supercell development, I'm looking at that on the computer models in the background, and it does show the threat of some supercell, very low threat of a few supercells developing in Jackson County, even northeastern and southern parts of DeKalb County. Pretty much northeast Alabama does have a threat for some supercell development, but it's very low. Supercells meaning damaging winds, large hail, low threat of a tornado. That kind of pattern is what we're looking at here. Not a high-end threat, all very low, more or less toward the damaging winds and hail threat versus a tornado threat, but there's still a low, tiny low threat of a tornado or two, but it's very low. Yeah, prayers that it continues to weaken. No problem, thank you. I appreciate everybody watching. Shaylin, watching from Bridgeport. Oh, I appreciate that. Good to know I got a viewer up there in Bridgeport. I did not think I had anybody up in Bridgeport. I know I've heard from everybody across Jackson County, just about but Bridgeport. So that's good to see. I still see the storm weakening. It's continuing to weaken as it moves on off to the east-southeast. It looks like the damaging wind threat is going to move toward high top. So some strong to damaging winds moving toward high top. Lost my train of thought there. Moving toward high top. And Stevenson, you might end up getting some of the rain, some wind off of it. Bridgeport, you might also get some of the rain and wind. But it looks like it's wanting to do a little bit further south dive on it. It looks like it's wanting to go more towards Skyline currently. High top and Skyline. So we'll see if it continues to move this way. And if it does, it may move further south toward Hollywood. But I do believe Stevenson will get some wind off of this storm here. Maybe even some hail in there. All right, I just got notified by JCEMA that he's in office. JCEMA is Station 58. Y'all got any reports in for Jackson County? Or is everything pretty good so far?
So far, no reports, but I'm sure they're coming.
Roger that. Good news. Well, maybe they won't. Maybe we won't get any, but yeah, they looks like the strongest part of that storm now around high top, just to the west. It's trying to go a little bit south there, so we'll be watching it here. Station 58 will be standing by. And we do appreciate Josh very much for what he's doing up there at the EMA office and allowing us to talk back and forth to him and give the information out. We're all very blessed to be able to be a volunteer group and be able to do that. Larissa, thank you so much for that. Oh my goodness, I just now realized where that came from. Thank you so much for helping with that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, really appreciate that donation there to help us out with the page. Oh my goodness, this radar. Hang on just a second, everybody. It looks like my radar has decided it would crash. So give me just a moment and I'll load it back up. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it. And yeah, you asked a question. I never did answer it. Give me just a second, and I'll look at the high res models. I know it's kind of quiet, which is good. Anytime we have severe thunderstorm warnings and the radios are not going crazy and we're not getting reports left and right, that's always great. That means that more than likely it's not doing anything. So that's, other than rain and wind, which is what we want. We don't want it to do anything, any damage or nothing. So far, no reports at all coming in on any of our channels, direct or anything. So that's good. So it does want to show some additional pop-up storms around 6 o'clock this evening. And again, I'm not sure if our severe thunderstorm watch will stay in effect till 6 o'clock, but there is a possibility because I do see a few pop-up storms in northeast Alabama around 6 o'clock. But I see the best threat of additional storm development to be west of I-65. There's another bulk of storms that will develop over in northeast Mississippi that will pose a threat of some potentially damaging winds, and I think I can actually show that. Give me just a second. Let's see if I can get that to come up. So yeah, we're looking at the high-res models here, backing it up a little bit more. So this right here, the timing here, this is 6 o'clock this afternoon, or this evening, and you can see a few little storms popping up in northeast parts of DeKalb and southeastern parts of Jackson, even northwest parts of Jackson. Biggest bulk over in Mississippi, though. As we move forward, this is at 7 o'clock this evening. We have a few little pop-up storms out there. The best threat, again, west of I-65. That moves on through. A few more popping up in Marshall County. That's around 10 o'clock tonight. So, I mean, according to the high res, there is potential for some more storm development, yes, behind this. But this will be our main stuff. We'll see how this impacts the atmosphere as it moves through. This could weaken everything out. It could take all the energy out, which according to, let me get that up. Where did that go? So let's run this on through. I think we got a new run out. No, it's not a new run. So these storms, they take a good bit of energy out of northwest Alabama. As you see here, these what looks like these little blobs that's pretty much white and the lighter colors, and you notice the numbers go down a lot. So these do take a lot of energy out of northwest Alabama as they move through around 2 o'clock. But DeKalb County still has some energy in place. They're thinking that DeKalb County may not get quite as much of this storm activity. And if it doesn't, that would lead for the development of maybe some severe ones later, possibly a secondary round. And that's kind of the thinking here. And it will depend on where this big bulk goes, how much energy it takes out. But we do note some rebounding behind this line. So there's a possibility of another severe threat because look at that. The Cape goes back up to 2,000 joules over northwest Alabama and Mississippi. The Cape is absolutely through the roof over there. So yeah, I do think our atmosphere may rebound behind this line and we may get an additional severe threat later on. That's what I'm thinking. And looks like it really fully gets out of here. That's going to be at 1 a.m. tonight. But again, that could be wrong. So I'm just giving you some scenarios that might happen. This is model guidance. This is not a guarantee. So just saying, this is a possibility we could get some more severe storms later. Let's get back on this one. The special weather statement has replaced that warning. I actually do have a lot that I got to go out and do today. I've got some bills I got to go pay, but as far as that goes, if there's severe storms, we're not going anywhere, so it can wait. Special weather statement, let me make sure that has not been canceled. So another 28 minutes for that severe thunderstorm warning. It is moving kind of towards Stevenson, so it's weakening. I don't really think that it's going to pose a severe threat for Stevenson, other than some heavy rain and wind. And the Weather Service has put a special weather statement out. Strong thunderstorm will impact northwestern Jackson County through 12:45 p.m. At 12:13 p.m., Doppler radar was tracking a strong thunderstorm near Skyliner, 17 miles north of Scottsboro. moving southeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazards will be wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour and some penny-sized hail. Locations would be impacted would be Scottsboro, Hollywood, Skyline, High Top, Princeton, Estill Fork, Fackler, and Larkin. So if you're in those areas, get ready for some potential gusty winds out of this. It looks like that storm is really falling apart, to be honest. So that is good news. So I'll just tell you, if by the model guidance, what it shows this storm here falling apart. Is what the model guidance shows. This thing eventually falls plumb apart as it moves further northeast. Looks like it will get the northeast corner of DeKalb, possibly. That one falls apart pretty much. And what it's wanting to say is this activity over here continues. So we'll watch that. If this storm does do what the model guidance is suggesting, and so far it is doing that. It is weakening and falling apart. So we'll see if that remains the case or if that changes. But right now, there's still that severe storm warning there for the Hazel Green area, Meridianville, Harvest, New Market areas. That's going to be in the Madison County area. All that's tracking off to the southeast toward Moore's Mill. Some 60-mile-an-hour winds possible. I do see some high winds in there over Hazel Green. So there could be some embedded damaging winds in there. But not as bad, not as mean as it was when it came out of Tennessee. But there's still some embedded winds in there pretty high up. But not like it was when it come out of Tennessee. That thing was mean when they come out of Tennessee. Good news is I'm seeing a lot less warnings and a lot more strong storms popping up, so that's already good. Let's hope it stays that way. But this warning in Jackson County, I mean, there's no way that's going to stay in effect for 25 minutes, because that storm is not producing damaging winds. I can tell you that. Pretty certain that it's not. Looks like a new warning going up just to the west with this new storm here that I was just talking about. Actually, no. Further west than that. So Huntsville blowing the top off of my theory there, unfortunately. They went ahead. They're thinking there's some damaging winds with this whole line here. So they went ahead and put out a very large severe thunderstorm warning for the next 54 minutes. That's going to be issued for Madison County in north central Alabama, Limestone County in north central Alabama, eastern Lauderdale County in northwest Alabama, southeastern Colbert County in northwest Alabama, and northern Lawrence County in northwest Alabama until 1:15. At 12:20, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Ardmore to near Killen, moving southeast at 20 miles per hour, very slow. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible and penny-sized hail. Areas impacted will be Huntsville, Decatur, Madison, Florence, Athens, Muscle Shoals, Sheffield, Moores Mill, Meridianville, and Redstone Arsenal. So there goes my calm theory there, unfortunately. But again, these are not necessarily producing damaging winds, but it means that they definitely could be. So there's going to be some embedded damaging winds in that line. I do see the point. The reason they did that, there is some pretty high winds showing up in the scan there. You see the lighter colors, or actually the lighter, brighter colors are where the damaging winds are. And you can see some of those peeking out, like right here south of Pruitt. That's very bright colored. That's probably 50 or 60 miles per hour there. Just a slight embedded area damaging winds, but that's all it takes is for a line to produce some damaging winds in one location, and you got damage. So that's the whole reason for that warning, and it goes a long ways too. My chat just froze. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, bear with me while I correct some of this information on that text. There we go. Had to catch up just a little bit. Got a little bit behind there. Thanks, Janice. I appreciate it. Well, I've got to say, he's been good to me for a long time. The good Lord has. So, um, I'm happy to be able to do what I can do to help everybody else. So, that was my calling, and I'm going to try to stay to it as long as I can. And I can't say it hasn't been frustrating from the first day, because it has been an absolute pain from the first day, but it's worth it in the long run. And I know I've had people, yeah, it's worth it because you're making a lot of money. I don't make a dime. I'll tell you, I don't make a dime off of this. Neither does my group. It's all volunteer. That's what makes it even better. All right, so that warning in Jackson County was taken out, replaced by a special weather statement. Pretty much that little thunderstorm there, if it's even a thunderstorm at this point, producing some gusty winds and some heavy rain. That's about it, and it is going ahead and weakening on out. I mean, what amazes me is by how I sometimes look at the high res models, and I keep a visual in my mind of what those high res models look like. And then when I'm looking at radar, I compare them. And what amazes me is how close in resemblance the high-res models come to the real-time outcome. It's almost as if they can predict the future. Now, they're not always right, but most of the time, the high-res models are very close to what actually happens. Still amazes me. It's just one amazing computer model, and it's very accurate. Most of the time. Good, about 95% of the time it's accurate. So I do notice the skies are getting a little bit darker off to our north. Our winds are starting to pick up a little bit out of the north as well. I'm doing this because I love doing it and I'm able to do it. And Janice, you know, you're right. Uh, I have felt with so many smart alecks over this. I'll put something up, and you know, people be like, "Why don't you just do your job and shut up, quit complaining?" And what's so funny is me getting a comment and say, "Last time I checked, this wasn't my job, and I'm not getting paid for it. I'm doing it because I want to do it to help the community out. That's the reason I'm doing it, and it's a passion of mine that I've always had." Is to help people and also to do weather. So if you can combine them together and do both, go for it. So that's what I did. And I can't, you know, now I can't say I'm doing it alone because I've got some a great group of volunteers that are all on our communications network. Doing an amazing job. I've got one that's keeping the bookwork, you know, all that information in. She's doing an amazing job. Miss Brandy, thank you so much for that. And shout out to all the volunteers, really. Michael from Aroni, Celeste in Blount County, Tyler over in Section, Brandy over in Horton, Jackson EMA, Lacey over in Scottsboro, Wesley, Henniger. I'm sure everybody knows Wesley Busby. If you don't, you definitely should get to know him. Philip over in Fort Payne, Vicky and Coleman, Ty, he's going to be over in Kilpatrick. I haven't heard from him in a while. I got to find out what's going on. Roger and Geraldine, and Mike over in Eider. So we appreciate all y'all for helping us out. We couldn't do it without you. And some of these members are parts of Volunteer Fire, so they already help their community out. You know, they help us out more than one way. So they're helping out with weather, spotting, and also they're firefighters or EMS or EMA or something. So they're already helping our community out in multiple ways. So really appreciate them for being a part of us, helping us get out and further help the community. And Brandy, I thought you was in there somewhere. But yeah, this is a kind of a boring stream, and I'm kind of glad. You know, I'm not having to tell people to take cover due to a tornado, so that's good. No problem, Brandy. Good to have you on here. But honestly, Janice, the reason people think I'm making money is because a lot of people think I'm a meteorologist. And that's, I mean, I guess I guess I could take that as a compliment. Because I'm not a meteorologist. For those that, if you don't know, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm trained. I'm self-trained, and well, I'm not fully self-trained. I've been just Weather Service Office has been training me since 2006. I've been a trained spotter, so I went to hundreds of storm spotting classes throughout my time. I could probably do one with my eyes closed because I went through so many classes. It's just like, yeah, it's good to get updated though, because there's always something new that the Weather Service Office has that we can learn that we didn't know before. So as they're advancing, then they're also advancing us with that knowledge. So it helps a lot to go to those classes when they have them. Well, guys, I've got some news for everybody. I can officially say that I can reactivate our, let let me think here. Our subscription to our oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, guys. My sugar is messed up, so I'm trying to think here what I was needing to say. I can keep our subscription going for our page, keep it verified. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you all so much. I appreciate the donations and helping out. And they will be put to good use, I assure you. If we could keep them coming every month, we could keep this page going with no problem. So that would be great. Well, Brandy, you really have been keeping the bookkeeping, hadn't you? Because I didn't know that. You've already been doing it a year, so thank you. So honestly, by the way these storms are behaving, I'm thinking there's a cap in place in northeast Alabama, which will be good. That doesn't mean it's not going to lift, but I'm thinking there may be a cap in place. In fact, there may be a cap in place in North Alabama by the way these storms are doing. Because you notice when they come out of Tennessee, they were some mean storms. And they've got into Alabama, and they have just, went from a mean storm to pretty much what you're seeing right here, just a wispy mess of some rain and hail. So, if there is a cap in place, that would be great. That would prevent these storms from building up and reaching into that energy. There's energy there, but these storms may not be able to get it. So that's good. If these storms keep this up, I'll take it. But I do believe there's something in place keeping these storms from getting the energy that they could actually get. And, they could be pretty nasty if they're able to get into that energy. But so far, I haven't seen them do that because they're not, going crazy on us or anything like that. Like they was in Tennessee. They was pretty mean looking up in Tennessee. But for those that may want to know how you could send a donation if you'd like to, there's a way to do it. There's our Cash App. And any money that we made that's left over from the bills of this page will be put back for next month. So just to let you know that. And we thank everybody for the support. Alright, so I do have to go pay some bills here around 2 o'clock. So, I may end up having to leave a little early to do that. But I want everybody to know that is why we pay for a subscription service through, let me think of the name. Anyway, I don't know the name, but it's through it's a subscription service through a company that automatically posts alerts to our page. So whether we're on or not, those alerts are coming in. So if there was to be more severe weather this evening and I'm gone and I'm not on, just know, if you don't see me live, you know that I'm out paying my bills and I'm busy. I'm not able to get on. But of course, we'll be communicating on the radio as always. We've always got the radio, always got a pager on me, so I know what's going on. I'm sure y'all heard that sounding at the beginning of the video when that warning was going off. But you'll be notified on the page. As soon as that warning comes out, it's up on the page. So it goes straight out to the page once it's up. So make sure you like and follow. You have your notifications set. That way you can get notified if there's a chance that we're not on covering the storm. So just that'll be the reason why we won't be in the office. So let's take a look at some of our cameras. It is a little bit boring at the moment, which is always good. We're not tracking tornadoes; it's destroying everybody's house, so that's always good. So there's a look at our little sky cam. I know it ain't much. I would like to get it up a lot higher, but unfortunately, I'd need a bucket truck to get it up any higher than that. So this is 35 feet on our tower out back. And the tower is a total of 40 feet. So there's 35 feet. No, I told you wrong. This is the 25-foot camera. I told you wrong. This camera is 25 feet up. My other camera is 35 feet up. And I'm starting to see those storms in Jackson County. Let me move to my higher up camera. Give me a second and we'll have a look at that. This camera here doesn't aim up as high as those do for some odd reason, but it just will not aim up as high as I want it to. So there's a view from my 35-foot camera. That one's very top. And again, it does not go up as high as I want it to, but you can move this one around, which is really neat. I do like that I'm able to move it around and see different directions. I just wish it would aim up a little higher. I don't really like it aiming down that low, able to see the property and all for privacy reasons. But again, it does what it needs to do. So that's one of my favorite cameras. It's pretty neat. So I did just get a message asking about if you could be an individual sponsor and not have a business. Absolutely. You can be an anonymous sponsor if you want. Like you don't have to have, you don't have to, there's nothing specific there. If you want to be an individual person and you want to send us, let's say all you can afford is $10 a month or $20 a month. If you want to do that, anything helps. So yeah, you're more than welcome to do that. If you don't have to have a business, but if you have a business, I'll be glad to advertise, that way you're getting something out of it. We're getting something out of it, make everybody happy. So noticing a new severe thunderstorm warning just went out for further to our west. And that is going to be for Muscle Shoals, Russellville, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Red Bay, Phil Campbell, Littleville, Belgrade, Vina, and the Hodges area. That's going to be to the west of I-65. It's going to be, it says issued out at 12:40. National Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Colbert County and northwest Alabama, Franklin County and northwest Alabama. That's until 1:45 p.m. At 12:40 p.m., severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Littleville to Belgrade to near Red Bay, moving southeast at 25 miles per hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail possible. Locations impacted include Muscle Shoals, Russellville, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Red Bay, Phil Campbell, Littleville, Belgrade, Vina, and Hodges. So new warning went up on that, west of I-65. My thoughts, that is a possibility because it's, as I mentioned, the high res model showed that storm falling apart in Jackson County. And as we see, it has, but it's also redeveloped again, but it's very weak. It's moving toward the Pisgah area in Scottsboro. So there is a break there. And as I mentioned, the high res showed the heaviest of the stuff staying west of us and kind of missing us, but that would allow the threat of more possibly storms to pop up later. Looks like a new warning just coming out. They're extending that further south to include parts of DeKalb County and Marshall County. So National Weather Service putting a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Marshall County, Jackson County, and Madison County. Let's see, Limestone County, DeKalb County, Morgan County, Lawrence County. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and nickel-size hail out of that.
Thunderstorm warning for Marshall County in northeastern Alabama, southwestern Jackson County in northeastern Alabama, southern Madison County in north central Alabama, southeastern Limestone County in north central Alabama, southwestern DeKalb County in northeastern Alabama, Morgan County in north central Alabama, Lawrence County in northwestern Alabama, until 1:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 12:43 p.m. Central Daylight Time, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Woodville to near Littlerville, moving southeast at 40 miles per hour. Hazard, 60 miles per hour wind gusts and nickel-size hail. Source, emergency management. Impact, expects damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include southern Huntsville, Decatur, Albertville, Hartselle, Guntersville, Arab, Moulton, Redstone Arsenal, Priceville, and Trinity. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Repeating, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued until 1:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time for the following counties in Alabama: DeKalb, Jackson, Madison, Marshall, and Morgan.
Alright, so we just got a new warning out. Let me get this information over our radio really quick. This is KO4FUN to all amateur radio operators. Please be advised that the National Weather Service in Huntsville has issued a severe thunderstorm warning, and that warning is in effect for southwestern DeKalb County and northeast Alabama. That's until 1:45 p.m. Looks like areas impacted by that storm would be southern Huntsville, Decatur, Albertville, Hartselle, Guntersville, Arab, Moulton, Redstone Arsenal, Priceville, and Trinity, and does include the areas of Geraldine and Crossville and southwest portions of DeKalb County. This is KO4FUN standing by for any reports. It's Station 58. Be advised, National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern DeKalb County, Marshall County, and looks like portions of Jackson County around Woodville. I'll be standing by for any reports. Station 58. So, new warning just went in effect. Let me fix this text. Okay, I don't think that time's correct. Let me look at that again. Yeah, there's some pretty hefty little storms here, and even though they look pretty weak, they're definitely Weather Service is thinking that they could produce some damaging wind gusts. That's the reason this warning is out. And again, let me take a look at it myself and see. Honestly, there is some gusty winds. There's some high winds in there. Looks like some higher winds kind of toward Woodville, Gurley area. Seeing some high winds there going toward Owens Crossroads. Some higher winds coming in toward Madison. So there's some embedded wind gusts in here. And there could be some damaging wind gusts in that storm. These storms. So it's a big line. And it looks like this line may be picking the pace up just a bit. Looks like it's speeding up a bit. All right, Miss Perez, I see what you wrote there. Give me just a second. I'm trying to translate it. I apologize. This thing does not automatically translate. So give me just a second, and I will translate this and answer you back. All right, everybody. So I'm going to have to leave here, and I've got some bills I got to go pay, but I will be tracking and posting updates up as I'm going out. So just letting you know. And to answer that person there asking about the hurricane season outlook, we enter peak hurricane season in June. So just a heads up, we're getting on into the hurricane season, but the good news is the forecasters are pretty much predicting a below normal hurricane season in 2026 due to the developing El Nino conditions. El Nino conditions usually don't favor very good tropical development and stuff like that. So I hope that answers your question there. So they're not expecting a big hurricane season. But we'll be keeping you updated. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings today. Also, pay attention to our page. We'll be updating. But as for right now, I have got to get out of here and go pay some bills because it's later than I thought it was. So have a great evening, everybody. And we will be continuously tracking this. I'm going to get out of here, but pay attention to our page. We'll be putting updates up. We'll wrap our video up with our sponsor, and that is going to be RKG Automotive Group. Looking for your new dream car, give them a call. And check them out on Facebook at 256-323-7323. And y'all have a blessed rest of your evening there. Stay weather aware. We'll be keeping you updated right here at DeKalb County Severe Weather Team.